From the moment Prince Harry's name first materialized on the docket for Life Maximizer's annual Soulforge Summit, event organizers braced for a polarizing rift to detonate. While the disgraced Duke initially campaigned for a leading seminar slate under his palliative, betterment, persona coaching reset pathways for privilege-poisoned masculinities, veteran attendees wasted no time issuing strident travel warnings. You're really willing to platform an outed sexual degenerate whose only claim to relevance anymore stems from pandering to the intersectional nepotism undermining our entire ethos, fumed mentoring Maverick 543 on the Paleo Life Hustle forums. Harry's not just another garden variety busted creep hustling second act crisis tours through ironic advisory grifts, he remains an existential threat to the very principles of personal agency we profess unlocking. From Bro-Nazi Crusher 69's scathingly detailed receipt posts articulating Markle's insidious lemonparty.org recordings being suspiciously DDoS scrubbed, to Humandoge Pat's comprehensive auditioning of Archwell Productions' offshored Liberian anti-grooming shell directorship, the voices of outrage over Soulforge's controversial keynote pick mushroomed. Despite the former royal initially being announced with great aplomb as someone transcending past traumas to walk an inspirational path of reinvented purpose, it didn't take long for bad PR to escalate into chatter of mass boycotts. All these cancel culture mobs want is another corporate saccharine dispensary to fortify their clout-bitten identities around instead of dealing with life on life's mercilessly awakened terms. Life Maximizer's founder Crichton de Vilbus attempted to rationalize the booking to raging skeptics. Who better than the man formerly derided as the world's most mockable model of privilege-mired ignorance to impart the hard wisdom of appending every artifice we'd been zombified into worshipping? With his utopian promise of reframing the summit's focus through dispelling all remaining illusions obscuring our core authenticity, Harry seemed intent on reappropriating the emancipated masculine principles of radical honest self-inventory, uncompromising accountability, and empowering insurrection against systemic oppression. An explosive prospect made even more compelling given his headliner slot represented a premiere. Just because the path to our assured becoming remains sculpted from society's detritus and scorn, that doesn't invalidate or diminish the transcendental clarity I've achieved over every trauma coloring my unexamined existence. The Duke's resonant voiceovers boomed bombastically throughout Life Maximizer's promotional trailers. Royal or regular, all men remain equally shackled by the same fabricated carceral scripts about what constitutes our collective purpose and deserved state of security, until forcibly awakened into a harsh reorientation towards harsh uncompromising truth. As expected, however, these grandiose flourishes of promotional rhetoric only poured accelerant upon the pyre of simmering resentments building towards the Soulforge main event. Upon Prince Harry's fleet of blacked-out Chrysler landaulettes and mercenary attaches descending onto the exploratory Tempe Garden estate hosting this year's symposium, a veritable battalion of beefy detractor picketers had already formed ranks to greet the polarizing figure's arrival. Your quackery would seek to desecrate for exploitation the very sacred precepts we've devoted lifetimes upholding, you degenerate rapscallion, barked Burley, wildly gesticulating Dreadged impresario Bokanon Makwasap while pelting the Duke's motorcade with salvos of artisanal kombucha dregs. Be preparing that gelded handbag tongue for the verbal dragging we shall issue your regressively stymied incarnate ignorance upon arrival. Beyond the phone in corporate media jackalls drooling at every whiff of potential scuffles to sensationalize content streams with, the street skirmish lines painting the summit's lens made zero attempt to obscure contempt for the out-of-touch aristocracy appropriating their teachings on spiritual rebirth. Hardened anti-state agitators from revolutionary men's circles as far as Norway, Turkey and Micronesia jetted in to rally around defiant banners reading, "Patriarist fat fucks leave," and, "Invert your renunciation norms, scions of Kyle rotting stopgap penis cult." Even more disconcerting for Henrican adherents were the rogue nomadic factions refusing to jettison literal excrement ordinance until granted General Assembly debates over whether to preemptively karate chop block the entitled ginger infiltrators' arrival. Only after elite crisis negotiators fanned out to de-escalate tensions by paying modest, cultural consultation fees, did the human barricades finally stand down. I've been present for microaggressive clashes over intersectional territory, yet this was on a whole different stratosphere of hostility, remarked Pax Ahimsa, a seasoned security advisor coordinating perimeters between Soulforge battalions manning each secured checkpoint. The amount of vitriol being exuded at the mere specter of Harry overstepping boundaries into this sanctum of disruptive truth-seeking felt potentially cataclysmic in ways I'd never conceived short of state repressor militancy. For as ominous as prospects appeared just from periphery optics, the former senior royal remained steadfast in marching directly into the threshing mouths of doubters via the path unwilled seminar tent pole. Surrounded by 2 barrels worth of hired muscle shipped in from the Sockham Circuit roaming locker room backstage, Harry finally made his entrance after sundown to a front swell of booze worthy of any Freddy Krueger slasher cameo. Instantly bedlam erupted over a man whose prior familial rank had him literally ascending to thrones, now hijacking arenas devoted to exposing monarchy's inherent evils and futility. Folk punk anthems decrying his inherited phallic malignities ricocheted off bare-chested summit MCs likening the prince's mental gynecology to an awakened shaman birthstriked into underwhelmed omegality. If not for the wild-eyed Skyer Gateheel chapter providing impromptu pipings to counteract audible dissension, the ruckus maybe spiraled into violent mutiny before Harry croaked out a single syllable.